Hi, it's Chris Fletcher, and this is musicbizmentors.com, and this is part 2 of Jumpstart Your Music Career in 2022. So we have 6 essential music business items that you can start putting together while you're still recording. So let's get started. So here are the business must-haves that I have suggested for you to start with. Number 1, I have GoDaddy up here. What that means is you need to get your domain name for your band and maybe for yourself. And so you want to go to domainname.com or GoDaddy. And you want to look up those names and make sure you get the .com, not the .us, not the .ca, because the .com comes up first. And before you get that name, make sure you check the social media, whichever one you're going to choose. Make sure that you can get that name also. Because just because you get the domain name, that doesn't mean that someone else has not been using your name already. And you can't stop them from that. The internet is not regulated. You can't make them stop just because you have a domain name. So make sure that your domain name that you pick is .com, and make sure you can also get it in social media before you go and you purchase something like that. And then number 2 here is copyright your songs. You cannot just take your songs and mail them to yourself and put them in an envelope somewhere. The courts do not recognize something like that. So within 90 days of you getting on Spotify, Apple Play, anywhere out like that, you should be copyrighting your songs. And if you have the same songwriters, then you can copyright a bunch of them together. But you want to copyright your songs because it's the only way you can prove that this is your song to any of the courts in the U.S. Next thing I wrote down Bandcamp here. I'm talking about getting a website. And you can do one yourself. You can hire somebody to do it for you. Or you could just go to Bandcamp, or you could go to the free Reverb Nation. And it's okay to start with those kind of things. You can even sell your merch on Bandcamp. So you want to consider getting that so you look professional and people can actually find you when they start looking for you. So please consider getting some kind of website. And then right here I have add metadata to your music. If you're not sure what metadata is, I'm going to suggest that you go to YouTube and say, how do I put metadata on my songs? Because what that is, it should be a little click of a button, and a little button comes up on your song, and then you can put the songwriters, how to contact you, and information on the song. If one of your songs lands in somebody's hands that wants to use it for TV, film, video games, a podcast, that's how people find out how to contact you. So you want to make sure you have metadata on all the songs. And you should actually try to put that together before you throw that into the social media networks and before you put it up on Bandcamp or something like that. And number 5, I have BMI, CSEC, and ASCAP here. They are PROs, which it means performing rights organizations. They collect money for you if one of your songs gets placed somewhere. And so you want to just make sure it's easy to set up and just look at each one and choose which one you want. But it costs a little bit of money, $100 to actually join for those things, but it'll be really worth it. Because if that song lands in somebody's hands and they want to use it, they're going to ask you these questions. Is it copyright? Do you have metadata on it? Do you own the masters? And then they're going to ask you if you're with a PRO. So you want to make sure that you do all these things before you actually release any kind of music to the public. Last but not least here is connected to the right fans. You should be doing some kind of social media action out here so people know that you're current in 2022. Whatever you've done up to this past almost doesn't make any difference. We're starting all over in 2022. And so DIY artists can really get a lot of traction if you start working on any social media. Just pick one and concentrate on it. That's all I ask. And maybe start thinking about doing some kind of virtual connection. People are so used to now watching you do music online, doing a live show, doing meet with the band for breakfast, all that kind of stuff. People want to really get to know who you are. And it's okay to show different things from the studio, those kind of things. But you want to make sure that you start to be active. And you know what? Twice a week is good enough for me. It would be great if you did it every day. But hey, if I can get you to do it twice a week, I think you're going to start connecting with fans. And then if you want to start performing out live because things are starting to open, you need a live performance video. So you might want to be thinking about that when you're in the studio. There may be some way for you to actually record with your iPhone or something like that. It doesn't have to be on a stage. It doesn't have to be in front of people. They want to see what you're like live. So you go to rehearsal hall, set up an iPhone, whatever it is, People want to get the mood of who you are, the vibe of what you're doing. So your live performance video is going to be your number one calling card, almost for anything that you're going to pitch to. I'm going to talk to you about starting an email list. I've talked about the email list over and over again, and I think some musicians, especially young DIY musicians, don't believe that the email list is important anymore. Email is still the number one way to get a hold of people, because if you post something on social media, they may not see it right away or may not see it at all. So you might want to get an email and say, hey, this is something coming up on Friday. We're going to have a contest for anybody who does graphics, and then we're going to give you tickets to shows or whatever's going on. So an email list is still number one. Please consider putting one together. And last but not least, my friend Hunter from Trend PR says, people will like your music, but they will love you. It's all about them connecting with you, connecting with your mission, connecting with who you are and what you're saying. And so it's really important for us to start thinking about that even way before you put any music out. You can start really early, just showing who you are, what you're all about, and let people know that new music is coming out for you this year. So this is what we're talking about you putting your business together while you're recording and putting the music together. It will really help you if you get all this stuff ready to go and then all the business is taken care of. You can really sink your teeth into promoting the music and the band and yourself. So hopefully some of those things are important. Again, there are only 6 things, and we can do them before we actually put music out. If you have any questions or problems, please email me at musicbizmentors@gmail.com.